Universal Studios Halloween Horror Nights, or HHN for short. It's the premier Halloween event that's a must attend, which transpires each and every year. Whether you visit Orlando, Hollywood, Japan, or Singapore, Halloween Horror Nights will be there, welcoming you with open arms. Of course, during the respective time frames, that is. Now you see, HHN debuted all the way back in 1991, and for that opening year of the event, it only happened on October 25th, 26th, and 31st. But ever since that moment, HHN has been a staple in regards to phenomenal horror events, with the event increasing in the amount of days that it lasts for, number of houses to get your scream on in, and so on and so forth. And over the years, as it became that staple Halloween event, it also became a staple event in my life. Aww. I have a bit of a long history with attending the event and trying to indulge myself in everything that it had to offer. I first attended HHN back in 2010 when I was, 10 years old. And that year, it was the event's 20th year anniversary. And now, we didn't specifically go to Universal to hit HHN. We were there to just solely hit the parks, nothing else. But as we arrived in Orlando for that trip, we noticed advertisements for Halloween Horror Nights everywhere. Billboards, cups, you name it. You couldn't turn without seeing this event. So, as we were leaving the Universal Park on our last day of the trip, my parents stopped by one of the information offices to find out more about the event. And once all the intel was gathered, the question was asked, did I want to stay for Halloween Horror Nights? And which I said, oh yeah! And man, did I make a mistake. I mean, not really, I'm just being dramatic, but that first house that we hit, I was jump scared right into my mother's arms. I mean, I hid my face and held on to her for that and every house that we went through after, as I was genuinely terrified. So terrified that after about 3 houses and the Bill and Ted's excellent Halloween adventure show, I said that my head hurt, which in reality, I just wanted to get the hell out of there. Luckily, my brother said that he wasn't feeling good either, which strengthened the case for us to leave, which we ended up doing. Sorry, Mom and Dad. After that, I wouldn't return to the event until 2016, and that's when my love for Halloween Horror Nights really began to grow. The excitement and immersion I felt while attending the event was unmatched. I was always eager to explore the lore of everything and get lost in the story of it all. But not just what was in front of the curtain, but behind it as well. There were years when I would go on the Unmasking and the Horror Tours to try and figure out as much as I possibly could. All the Easter eggs, the tricks, the strategies that they would implement to get better scares. It was all so insightful. Now, I've been going ever since 2016, excluding 2020. And out of all the years that I have been, last year I experienced something entirely different. As it was the first year that I got to traverse through a house based off of a video game. And that video game being none other than the well-renowned The Last of Us. Now, hear me out. I love that game and was ecstatic when I saw that it would be coming to HHN as a haunted house. I mean, I remember spending hours talking to my friends hypothesizing as to which locations they'll have in the house, what we'll see, what we'll hear, literally all of it. And with such a monumental game being turned into a haunted house, it makes me believe that the door between video games and HHN was kicked open even further. Other than The Last of Us, only 2 games have been turned into haunted houses at Halloween Horror Nights. One being Silent Hill, which was at the event in 2012, and Resident Evil, which followed up in the next year in 2013. But now with The Last of Us entering the fold and receiving such phenomenal feedback, maybe we can expect more video game collaborations. Which finally brings us to the point of this video, where I go over 5 games that would make for fantastic haunted houses at Halloween Horror Nights. So what better way to start off this list than with a banger for number 1, Resident Evil Biohazard. Resident Evil Biohazard plunged players into a nightmare of unimaginable horrors with its atmospheric setting, terrifying creatures, and intense moments of pure dread. And now, imagine stepping into that nightmare yourself as you navigate through the decrepit halls of the Baker family plantation. As you venture into the mansion, you'll encounter all manners of horrors, from the grotesque molded to the relentless pursuit of Jack Baker himself. Imagine the tension as you try to evade his gaze, knowing that at any moment, he could burst out of the shadows and send you running for your life.
Fuck! What the fuck?
You're wasting your time!
I don't want to waste my time!
And it's not only him that you'd have to worry about, as there are so many other characters who could pose a threat in this house, like Marguerite, Lucas, Mia, and Evelyn. And although Resident Evil has already made an appearance at Halloween Horror Nights, who's to say that it can't return? I mean, HHN is known to have the same intellectual properties returned for a number of years, like The Walking Dead, American Horror Story, and Stranger Things. And from what I've been seeing, fans are looking for Resident Evil to come back, especially in the form of Biohazard. And if it were to happen, it would be a recipe for greatness. Now moving on to number 2, we have Left 4 Dead 2. Left 4 Dead 2 isn't just your average zombie shooter game. It's a heart-pounding, adrenaline-fueled journey through a post-apocalyptic world filled with terrifying creatures and pulse-pounding action. Now I don't know about you, but to me, that sounds like it would translate so well into a haunted house experience. First off, let's talk about those iconic characters. From the wisecracking Ellis to the tough-as-nails Coach, Left 4 Dead 2 is filled with memorable personalities that would come to life in a haunted house setting. Personally, for me, I enjoy rooting on the characters in the haunted houses. For example, when Universal did the Universal Monsters Legends Collide house, it was always fun to see which monster reigned victorious at the end. It really added to the experience, and it would be so cool to see these characters come to life. But it's not just the characters that make Left 4 Dead 2 so perfect for Halloween Horror Nights. The game is also known for its diverse range of environments, from creepy swamps to abandoned carnivals. Each of these settings offer a unique opportunity for haunted house designers to create immersive and terrifying experiences. And let's not forget about the tension and suspense that Left 4 Dead 2 is famous for. Every corner could be hiding a horde of zombies or a deadly special infected, keeping you on the edge of your seat as you navigate through the haunted house. And when it comes to the sound design, the noises from the Left 4 Dead franchise are unforgettable. Each scream, growl, or cry means that something is awaiting you around that corner, and I can go ahead and tell you now, it's not something that you want to go face to face with. Left 4 Dead 2 would bring an entirely different zombie experience to Halloween Horror Nights, one that I'm sure fans would remember for years to come. Number 3, Dead by Daylight. The acclaimed multiplayer horror game has captured the imaginations of millions worldwide. But what if you could step into the game itself? Imagine facing off against some of horror's most notorious killers, each more terrifying than the last. Picture this, right? You're wandering through the fog-drenched woods of the Red Forest, where the plague lurks in the shadows, ready to strike at any moment. Or perhaps you'll find yourself trapped in the nightmarish realm of the Entity, where the line between reality and nightmare blurs beyond recognition. Dead by Daylight offers such a rich tapestry of horror, from classic movie villains to original creations. It's a goldmine of terrifying experiences just waiting to be unleashed. There are so many different ways to execute this concept and how fun and terrifying of a house this could be. HHN has a history of doing a this or that ending depending on which final direction you choose to go, like what they did last year for Dueling Dragons Choose Thy Fate, where at the end of the house, well, you choose your fate by either following the red or blue path. It was such a cool concept that I haven't experienced in all of my years of going. So, if they were able to implement that in the Dead by Daylight house, that'd be perfect. Number 4, Outlast. The acclaimed survival horror game has captivated players with its intense gameplay and immersive storytelling. Now, imagine if we could experience that terror firsthand. Imagine stepping into Mount Massive Asylum, the setting of Outlast, where you'll come face to face with the deranged patients, relentless pursuers, and unspeakable horrors lurking in the shadows. In some instances, when it comes to horror games, you can fight back, but this is not one of those instances. In Outlast, you're given 3 options: run, hide, or die. When a game starts off like that, you know you're in for a rude awakening, and that's exactly what Outlast presented us. On top of the scares, the hopelessness, and the pure rush of adrenaline, Outlast will forever be known as one of the most iconic horror games, which is why it would be perfect for Halloween Horror Nights. And number 5, Dead Space. Dead Space is a masterpiece of horror gaming, known for its relentless atmosphere, gruesome creatures, and heart-pounding scares. Imagine being thrust into the claustrophobic corridors of the USG Ishimura, a derelict spaceship overrun by grotesque necromorphs. From the moment that you step inside, you're engulfed in a world of fear and desperation. The darkness presses in around you as you navigate through the dimly lit corridors, and the only sounds echoing are your own footsteps and the distant groans of the necromorphs. But what sets Dead Space apart from other horror games is its emphasis on psychological terror. The constant feeling of isolation and vulnerability, coupled with the gruesome imagery of dismembered bodies and mutated monstrosities, creates an unforgettable experience that will haunt you long after you've escaped. As you journey deeper into the haunted house, you'll encounter twisted visions and nightmarish abominations straight from the darkest depths of your imagination. Each turn brings new terrors and challenges, testing your courage and resolve in the face of unspeakable horror. And let's not forget about the immersive storytelling that Dead Space is known for. From cryptic audio logs to chilling environmental details, every element works together to weave a narrative of madness and despair, drawing you deeper into its nightmarish world. And being how the Dead Space remake dropped last year and was nominated for the Golden Joystick Award for Ultimate Game of the Year proves a lot, especially how it would be a great addition to Halloween Horror Nights. And there you have it. Those are 5 games that I think would make for phenomenal haunted houses at Halloween Horror Nights. Are there any games that came to your mind that weren't on this list? Let me know in the comments section. Also, over the next couple of months, I look to create a rough draft of what these games would look like in haunted house form, from concept and audio designs to descriptions and etc. So be sure to stay tuned. Until then, thank you for watching.